I've been thinking a lot about philosophy and philosophy of science because that's kind of the writing sample I've been I've been kind of putting together because I have to apply to grad school in December slash January of this upcoming year. So I'm kind of writing this writing sample. I just filmed a video talking about my whole thing about that. The thing I'm thinking about, the thing I'm writing about in that whole thing. But if you are a positivist, if you're a logical positivist like Rudolf Carnap, you're going to state that if a discipline cannot be grounded in experience, he wanted to found the entirety of science in our observation statements or our protocol statements or sense data itself experience. But basically, he wanted to ground all of science into that one thing. And he said that we have to eliminate some things. We have to eliminate metaphysics and theology, of course. We also have to eliminate axiology. He didn't use that term, but that's what it is. Axiology, or philosophy of value, which means ethics and aesthetics. So in this video, I want to talk about morality and basically as to if we're going to think about philosophy as philosophy of science, which I do, then can ethics be included in philosophy? If we're going to look at philosophy as philosophy of science, then we're thinking about every discipline of philosophy, whether it be philosophy of religion or anything else. It's disciplines of moving towards more knowledge about the world around us. Aristotle said that he's talked about philosophy as about wonder about the world around us and who we are and just the world in general. And ethics, whether it be applied ethics or meta-ethics or normative ethics, it's about morality, of course, and what is right and good ways to act, and are there moral rules? Are there morally absolute rules, or what? There's different. Do you think of ethics as such a huge discipline of philosophy, or such a huge branch of philosophy? And if philosophy is to be treated as philosophy of science, then I think that would revert all of philosophy down to the similar to something like the logical positivist stance, which is that ethics needs to be thrown out because, ethics among metaphysics and theology and aesthetics as well, ethics needs to be thrown out because it has no properties that can be verified in experience. So this question boils down to: are moral properties and moral entities natural or not? Is naturalism the correct metaethical theory or not? And I have a lot of videos in a big series on ethical naturalism. But if moral properties like good and right are natural, then they can be analyzed scientifically just like any other thing, and they can be grounded within experience. If they're not, then they can't be included in the philosophy if it's considered as philosophy of science, because it's about gaining more knowledge. And if we can't, and this is I guess a lot of different, we could be a coherentist about it, but then we would still have to figure it out in some way or another as to how talking about ethics is moving towards some kind of more knowledge. So I guess the whole thing is if we can, figure out a way that ethics is moving, that the discipline of ethics is a way of moving towards more knowledge about ethical properties, if there are any, then we can keep on doing that. But a lot of ethics is metaphysics that really can't be grounded in experience, and it's just kind of a difficult thing. And I don't think that moral properties are natural. I don't think that they can be tested for or analyzed in the same way that a scientific property can be. That's, I have, like I said, I have videos more on the moral, on the ethical naturalism thing. But, and personally, I mean, I think the foundationalist epistemology is the more correct one, and I think that if we're gonna, believe something, there has to be a reason why. There has to be a foundational, basic belief why. But that's, again, I have to figure that out before I even write this whole sample thing. This is a one issue I'm kind of thinking about, because I'm trying to, this whole writing sample is in its infant stages, and I'm trying to figure all this stuff out, because I have to write this. I have to have this thing ready by late August, so that my professors can look at it and tell me how to polish it up and make it, really, sparkly, awesome, so that I can have it ready by December to have it, ready to apply to grad school. So I guess this video isn't really that much of a big discussion point. But for one, I guess the question is, are moral properties natural? I would say no. And if they are, and I think philosophy is philosophy of science, and I have a video about that, and if you want to watch that, you can go back and watch that. But I think philosophy is all philosophy of science, and I have a case. I made a bit of a case as to why I think that is the case in that other video. I think all of philosophy is philosophy of science, and I think because of that, metaethics should probably be removed. However, there is, personally, I think that if a certain kind of philosophy of science or epistemology that Rudolf Carnap had was actually applied, we could throw out most of metaphysics, and throw out metaethics. But personally, I think we would still. There's still, there are some kinds of common sense morality things and ways you need to act in front or around people that we can come to some kind of knowledge of. But then in a way that might be saying that moral properties are natural ones. So that's a difficult issue there. So if you have any questions, or if you want to make a comment, please comment here. I'd love to discuss with you. And if you have any other things to say, I'd love to discuss with you. Thank you.